collectively, recovery in Islam, tie your camel. And don't let that name dissuade you, because in recovery, there's separation between religion and recovery. And in my closing remarks, I'm going to highlight some quotes from our textbook, Alcoholics Anonymous. Even though this is not under the umbrella of Alcoholics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Sex Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, what's the other one? Sex Lovers, Shoppers Anonymous. Yeah. This is designed to educate and inform and invite anyone and everyone who either knows someone or even themselves may be struggling with an addiction. I'm still struggling with my sugar addiction. Everybody in here, all the brothers know me, them Red Bulls got me, and I've been good. I've had 2 in the past couple of days, and that's down from 8 a day. So, addiction is a serious issue, and fortunately, having gone through the process of recovery, I'm no longer ashamed of this, to disclose myself publicly, if it will benefit someone else. But like the brother said, inshallah, I was glad, Brother Imam Yusuf, I told him, brother, I'll be here early tomorrow. He said, inshallah. So he covered me. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a dynamic. I have to call him a dynamic brother who I mentored. It'll be 13 years, inshallah, this month, Christmas Day. Now, this brother mentors me. He took over a 12-step big book step study at the Delta Club. He's had it for at least 5, maybe more than that, and draws a crowd because he's well studied in the religion and well versed in recovery. And he has a unique, profound delivery system that will, I guarantee you, hey Mo, will reach everyone. So be relaxed, feel comfortable. At the end of his segment, we're going to open it up for questions and answers, because the thing that got me really attracted to recovery, I went to a big book step study meeting where I met my sponsor, and they always allowed and encouraged questions, because you can hear us talk about it, you can see us either before, during, or after the recovery process, and you still wonder, well, why did you even start anyway? Or how did you stop? Or how do I help a loved one or a friend? So while you're listening to Brother Kenneth, known in New Orleans as Kenneth Quran, we call him Kenneth M here. So right now I'm going to bring up my brother. He always says good things about me, so I have to say good things about him because I love him. And the thing about it, come on up, Kenneth, because I'm going to keep talking if you don't stop moving. But people thought I was Kenneth's sponsor, but I've taken it upon myself to call myself his mentor, because I was doing book study at the center group at that time, and Kenneth and I were thick as thieves. If you saw Kenneth, you saw Tariq. If you saw Tariq, you saw Kenneth. And I just thought he liked me as a brother, but all the time, Kenny is a studier. He studies people, he observes, and he absorbs. So I'm going to let him share some of his wisdom, knowledge, experience, strength, and hope with you all at this time. Brother Kenneth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
What's up?
You don't need that mic now.
But first of all, out of respect for the house, like I always gotta give respect to the house. I'm gonna say Assalamu alaikum. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Means God's peace be upon you all. You know, and second, I'm gonna have to bear witness that like the Muslims say, La ilaha illallah. Wa no, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness and give open testimony that Allah is God, there ain't no God but God, and that Muhammad is his messenger. That's simply put. Before I begin, I want to say something in respect to Tariq's introduction. Because he said that, you know, I'm very studious. And I read well and communicate good. I take in a lot of stuff. I'm reminded, and I'm saying this to the believers, and when I say believers, I'm talking about believers from every perspective. Because whenever the Quran say, "Oh, ye who believe," it ain't talking to just Muslims. It's talking to any who believe. He makes it specific who he's talking to when he's addressing them. If he's talking to Muslims, he say, "Oh, ye Muslims." If he's talking to Christians, he'll say, "Oh, ye Christians." Or if he's talking to Jews, he say, "Oh, you Jews." If he's talking to hypocrites, he talk to them. That's what he does. So there's a verse that I use and try to internalize it in the Quran that states something to this effect. That if all of the oceans, and I take it to mean the rivers, the seas, the lakes, and the ponds, if all of the oceans on the planet with 7 other oceans backing them up was all ink. Ink means what you write with. I just want to make sure that's understood. And all of the trees on the planet was ink pens. God said he'll dry up before his knowledge would run out. He'll dry up all of the oceans. Me, I probably wouldn't dry up a mud puddle. Another statement that I use, I call it the prayer of the angels. Most people, Christians as well as Muslims, Jews, and everybody, feel as though angels are hierarchical beings, celestial beings, that's closer to God than we are. Am I right or wrong with that? Well, God questioned them about a matter. And they say, this is what I call the prayer of the angels. They say, of knowledge we have none, except that which thou hast taught us. In truth, it is thee and thee alone that is perfect in knowledge and wisdom. So I utilize that to keep myself in check. And the big book, the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous, says that we know only a little. We know only a little. So I'm saying that, and I'm going to say this also, that I'm only sober by the grace of God and his mercy, and I'm not stupid enough or dumb enough to think that I'm sober on my own power. I'm also say that I say these things in the beginning so that I can establish some form of humility. Because if I express any arrogance after this, y'all will remember that I said that first. Yeah, so after giving my proper respect to this house, now I'm going to have to put Tariq in check. I'm going to tell y'all, Tariq was leading the Big Book study long before I was. Tariq would come into the meeting 20 minutes late on a regular basis and get up and walk in the meeting. Presently, these days, if we about a half hour into the big book study and he walks into the meeting and you got an audience full of people out there, I tell him, Tariq, you're late. See, we can do that. But the average person, when you put them on the spot in front of a bunch of people like that, their pride is hurt. They get resentment. Why you putting me on the spot like that? You know, something about him. This I don't know about Tariq. One of his character defects is just being late. I think Tariq would be late for his own funeral.
A little long time. But you sold me the watch, Kenneth.
Yeah.
Don't get that. You sold me this watch.
Another thing, the brother makes mistakes. He stood up here and told y'all that he been mentoring me for 13 years. I mean, subtracting from my sobriety. It's been 15 years I've been sober.
I was testing them. I was checking them.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, 2004, I went to a meeting, not because I wanted to go to a meeting. Somebody told me they had free food down the street. I didn't even know they had a meeting there. Free. I went there looking for a free plate of food. And they was up there telling their determination. And I got that feeling I'm home now. So when they asked for somebody to come pick up a desire chip, I went up and picked me up a desire chip. And before I could get back to my seat, Tariq grabbed me by my hand and brought me to the dude I ain't never seen and said, "This your sponsor." He gave me a sponsor, and I am thankful for what he has done. And thank God that they didn't allow me to choose a sponsor. I would have been looking for somebody that's intellectually compatible to me, and I wouldn't have found nobody. That's the bottom line on that. So yeah, he mentored me. I was with him every day. He gave me, he inspired in me a desire to help others, to make meetings, work with others. He inspired me. My sponsor took me through the 12 steps, but a lot of people thought Tariq was my sponsor. I've been in contact with him ever since I've been in recovery. And I'm thankful for what he has done. Yeah, even though I talk about him, yeah. But, I say that God is good. Now the purpose of this setup, forum, conference, get together, gathering, or whatever you call it. The purpose for this forum, recovery in Islam, tie your camel. Well, when we say tie your camel, that's an Islamic saying from a long time ago about trusting God. Somebody was talking about he trusted God, and I think the prophet said, peace be upon him, yeah, Allah is God, but tie your camel. You know, it's like if you're in a car and you trust God and you go to Walmart and you trust God, you don't leave your car door unlocked, you lock your car.
That's right.
You know, because we're not driving camels today, we're driving cars.
Yes, sir.
You know, so when I look at the car or the camel as a vehicle of transportation, then I look at me and my body, my physical being, as a vehicle for transportation. Then I have to tie this particular form of transportation, this camel, and the only way I'm going to tie that is with the principles of Islam and the principles that I've been given in the 12 steps. And I have to keep the camel tied because the camel is subject to run away, especially mine. You see what I'm saying? It's subject to run away.
Yeah.
So I have to keep the camel tied and have to attend to his being tied on a regular basis. So anyway, the purpose for this particular gathering, everybody, is to help eliminate confusion as to the 12 steps program, especially as it relates to Muslims. and a lot of imams and some preachers. Because there are some Muslim imams and Christian preachers who have a common problem of drug users and wine bibbers in their respective congregations. And at the same time, they denounce Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12-step program. Some preachers would rather call a person who's suffering from drug addiction and alcoholism in front of the congregation and lay hands on it and shout, "Come out of him, devil! I denounce thee!" And then turn around and tell him, "Go thy way and sin no more." Not with this alcoholic addiction we got. Not with this drug addiction we got. It ain't happening. Then, since this is more or less addressed to Muslims, I want to read something from the Holy Book showing forth just how the ridiculousness of the rejection of AA really is. So I'm going to read something from out the Quran. This is coming from Shirah 2, chapter 2, verse 215. They asked thee what they should... No, that's incorrect. It's Shirah 2, verse 217. It says, they asked thee concerning... No, it's still wrong. Where am I at with this?
Take your time, bro.
Oh, I see where I done made a mistake. Let me correct this, because, you know, I'm surprised somebody in the room will holler, "Astaghfirullah! Astaghfirullah!" They'll do that, you know. In the rooms, they'll do that. See, one thing I know, the people who I'm addressing are not ignorant people. And so anybody can stand and be corrected. I told y'all the angels told God that their knowledge was imperfect. Mine is too. So with that I can afford to make a mistake. But now I'm corrected. Here it is. Here it is. It's Shirah 2, verse 219. Says, they asked thee concerning wine and gambling. Say, in them is great sin, and some benefit for many, but the sin is greater than the benefit. Now, for the people, because you got a lot of Muslims in here that's Arabic scholars that can speak Arabic. I'm not one of them. But this word, I think we call it something like this. Something like that. It's pronounced cholera, right?
Common. No A on the end, bro.
No what?
You can take the A off the end.
No A, all right.
Yeah, common. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the way that's pronounced.
Yes.
All right. Some people would do this. And break it down. All right. Now in this meaning of this word, one of the meanings of this word is to cover, to hide, to obscure. That's one of the meanings of this word. To cover, to hide. Am I right, you Arabic scholars?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, or to obscure. Remember, I'm putting this up and reading this to show forth the ridiculousness of the rejection of the AA program by imams. Y'all hear that?
Yes, sir.
So if this is needed to cover or to hide or to obscure, well, in the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous, they told us that deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It may be obscured. Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
By calamity, by pomp, and by worship of other things. But in some form or other, it is there. So if this word meant to be obscured and hide and cover, in the big book, written in 1939 sometime, come out and tell us that the idea of God associated with our alcoholism was covered up by calamity. That's telling us that those people who wrote the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous knew something more than what they let on. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right, now
Go ahead, man.
I'm going to read something further. Because they got another statement that's written. Okay? I can't see. Let me see now. Where is this at? Okay. I'm going to have to go from what I know. Tariq said I knew a few things. The Quran says this also about intoxicants, wine and gambling. He said they are handiworks of Satan. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
The handiwork of Satan, so shun them so that you may prosper. He said his design by those is to make you neglect the remembrance of God and to excite hatred and enmity amongst mankind. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
So,
This Surah 5, ayat 90.
read it.
O you who believe, gambling, Al-Insab and Al-Islam, which is arrows, are an abomination of Satan's handiwork. So avoid that in order that you may be successful.
An abomination of Satan's handiwork. This word I'm glad they got some good speakers in there. Says is the works of the devil. Now they got this word implied in what we just read. Y'all see that? This, when it told us that the sin is greater than the benefit, it was talking about this. The Adam. Right? The Adam. The sin is better than the benefit. But in this statement over here, what he just finished read, you have this regis. Meaning it's a handiwork of Satan himself. Handiwork means something that I have done myself. Because they use the word handiwork to break it down. Handiwork is something that I have done myself. If drinking wine and not gambling, wine and intoxicants are the handiwork of Satan himself, and you got a group called Alcoholics Anonymous who combat and taking people off of alcohol and drugs, then it is ridiculous for the Muslim, the Imam, to down that in any sense. The Imam told us, work with those who are working with towards your own goals. Unite with them. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
So just because an Imam is an Imam don't mean that the Imam is following the Imam. One way you know if an Imam is following the Imam is if he's speaking his language. Y'all understand? So, getting it out of the way. And let's
Make it plain.
let's go to now that's Quranic statements, right? All right. Now the Bible also makes a distinction between the drinker and the drunkard. Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
The Bible also makes a distinction between the drinker and the drunkard. The drunkard. In 1 Corinthians, and I'm going to say this because, you know, a lot of Muslims think that the Bible shouldn't be quoted in the mosque. A lot of Muslims do think that. The Quran is a confirmation of the books that went before it, right? And a fuller explanation of the book. If I don't know the books that went before it, how can I ascertain the fuller explanation of the book? So here's what the Bible says. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not enter the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers shall enter the kingdom of God. That's what the Bible says.
Can I read one? Can I read one from the Bible?
Hold your point. But now, it's another statement, all right? But now I have written to you not to keep company if any man that is called a brother be a fornicator or covetous or a drunkard. Not to even keep company with him. That's the Bible saying that, right? Read what you got, Yusuf.
Numbers 6 and 3. He shall abstain from wine and strong drink. He shall drink no vinegar, whether made from wine or strong drink, nor shall he drink any grape juice, nor eat fresh or dried grapes.
He shall not eat any grape juice, right?
Once it turns into wine.
Yeah, say dry. Say dry grapes.
They got a statement in the 12 and 12 that tell us that no person, it says something to the effect that no person that's afflicted with alcoholism and drug addiction, alcoholism, have ever single-handedly combated this illness. And they said that has been true apparently ever since man first crushed grapes. Or ever since man first crushed the cocoa leaf. Or ever since man first crushed the poppy plant. They say it's a statistical fact that alcoholics have never recovered on their own resources. They always needed a power greater than themselves. Now another biblical statement says, be not drunk. This is Ephesians. Be not drunk with wine. Be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. And it says in Proverbs, for the drunkard and the glutton. Tariq ain't no glutton. For the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty, and drunkenness shall clothe a man with rags. Proverbs. Wine is a mocker, strong drink is raging, and whoever is deceived thereby is not wise. Galatians. Now the works of the flesh are manifest. One of them is drunkenness. Those shall not inherit the kingdom of God. Isaiah. Woe unto them that wake in the morning, that they may follow strong drink. How many times that I done woke up in the morning saying I'm looking for a wake up? Y'all can identify with that? There. The Quran, they said, it says, is a confirmation of the previous scriptures and a fuller explanation of the book. Now, all of those scriptures that I just read from the Bible, none of this, and the reason why, is given to us. It's a fuller explanation of the book. Y'all heard me? The biblical statements only told us, don't get drunk, or you ain't going to inherit the kingdom of God, and all this kind of stuff. But the Quran is a fuller explanation of the book. It's telling us it's from Satan himself. That was, and black people, or so-called black people, or African Americans, or Negroes, or whatever they're calling themselves today, should pay special attention to this. Why? We had a so-called prophet in one of the bigger books in the Bible named Noah, and he got drunk, and the whole race was cursed. Y'all remember that? Yeah. One of his sons saw him naked while he was drunk and cursed all of us. And they justify his son seeing him drunk and enslaved the whole people. Some of us may not have traced it back to drunkenness. And alcohol may have had an effect on how we landed enslaved. Am I right or wrong? That's what the book told us. Y'all don't remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
We should pay special attention to that. His job is to excite enmity and hatred amongst you. Look at all the killings going on in every major city in the United States. It's not accidental. Look at all the killings going on all over the globe in the names of drugs and alcohol. Look at all the killings and the hatred that took place in the times of Al Capone and the Prohibition. It don't take long for us to see what the Quran is telling us. See, like one imam said that the Quran is not a book that needs to catch up with the times. The times need to catch up with the Quran. The solution has always been in the book, but the times need to catch up with the Quran. Yeah, because he don't give us problems without solutions.
Yes.
Now, it said the handiwork of Satan himself. So, therefore, it would be quite foolish for us to reject a program such as Alcoholics Anonymous. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Okay, now, there's a shura in the Quran called El-Asr, or the time, or by the token of time down to the ages. Y'all familiar with that? When I ask y'all a question, answer me. Y'all familiar with that?
Yeah.
All right.
Right for me.
Yeah, by the time, or the token of time, down to the ages. Surely man is in loss, except such as believe, do good, and join together in the mutual teachings of truth, patience, and constancy. Y'all remember that? Everybody else outside of those three is lost. And that word lost just don't mean like you lost your wallet. That means you can't even be found. That word lost means, these scholars know what I'm talking about. Lost don't mean just like you lost. You lost. The best way I can describe it is lost. Except such as believe. Alcoholics Anonymous has a step called step 2. We came to believe. Y'all heard that? Everybody in Alcoholics Anonymous, whether they be Muslim, Jew, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu, Baptist, Protestant, atheist, I say it again, atheist or agnostic, have come to believe. Oh, how can you say the atheist and agnostic didn't come to believe? He had to come to believe in a power greater than himself. Y'all heard me?
Yes.
He had to come to believe. Matter of fact, we in Alcoholics Anonymous get some of our greatest lessons from we agnostics. Y'all heard that?
Yes.
All right, so let me make sure Well, it tells us that AA never claimed the credit for what they have. AA said, this is what it says. The basic principles of AA, as they are known today, were borrowed mainly from the fields of religion and medicine. They were borrowed from the fields of religion and medicine. Fields, plural. They were borrowed from the fields. I'm going to write this down. Y'all see that? They were borrowed from the fields of religion and medicine. Medicine means psychology. When they say medicine, they're not talking about aspirins and Bufferins. They say psychology. The principles of AA were borrowed from the fields of religion and medicine. Even though religion don't dictate what we do in Alcoholics Anonymous, the principles were borrowed from the field of religion and medicine. Now, when you borrow something, some kind of way in my mind it implies that I have to give it back. Y'all hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Some kind of way it's in my mind, you know. Like if I borrow some money from Mo, you know, first thing he asks me is, when you gonna give it back? And Patrick, he's my sponsor. One thing he don't do is play with his money. You know, now nobody else can play with his money. If I ask Patrick, look man, I need a loan, the first thing come out of his mouth is, when you gonna give it back? Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
So if they borrow, how did this come about? You know, once a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew comes into Alcoholics Anonymous, and Alcoholics Anonymous sobers him up, and he gets through the 12-step process, you know, and he recovers from the addiction of drug addiction and alcoholism. The Big Book strongly recommends that he go back to his religion and help many a struggling priest, and help many a struggling imam, or a Jew, help many a rabbi, or whatever. He goes back to his religion because he's giving it back then. Because he's going back amongst them, looking amongst them, including imams and the people. Because some of them is suffering from alcohol and drugs. Am I right or wrong, y'all?
Right.
So they borrowed it and they gave it back. They sent it right back here. I'm so grateful to him for keeping me grounded and connected with the mosque. See, because my job since I've been sober has been in AA. When I had trouble getting sober, even with Kazim Ahmed. Y'all know Kazim Ahmed?
Yes,
when Kazim Ahmed was the resident imam. I remember when Wazir was taking over, Wazir married me and my third wife. Was it the third? Yeah, it was the third wife. See what I'm saying? Yeah.
Go ahead, get it.
You know, and I was telling Kazim then, I said, look, I got a problem. I'm using dope, I'm smoking dope, I'm shooting dope, and I'm doing everything else. So whenever you don't see me, that's where I'm at. See, I didn't believe right. They knew what I was doing.
Brother, make it plain.
You know, I'm going to do my, you know, if I can get there before I done hit, you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to get there. I'm going to sit down for the Juma, and I'm going to, this is what I did. And see, I didn't have no problem saying that. I didn't. I didn't have a problem saying that in New Orleans. I let all of them know, look, I'm a dope fiend, and that's what I'm doing, and when you don't see me, that's where I'm at. That's what I did. You know, and the reason why I did that is because Allah sees what I do. God sees what I do. What the hell I think I care about what you see? Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I got a year sober, I went to Cosmo and I told Cosmo, I said, Cosmo, I got a year. So he said, congratulations. When I got 2 years sober, I made it a point. Cosmo, I got 2 years sober. I got 3 years sober. I went to Cosmo. I said, Cosmo, I got 3 years sober. He congratulated me. The rest of them didn't. Cosmo ain't never looked at me like I was an outcast or whatnot, because Cosmo himself was a dope fiend. Cosmo himself was a heroin addict. Cosmo, did y'all know that? Oh, I'm not talking about him. I'm not selling his character.
No,
you know,
he didn't mind sharing that. 'Cause I knew.
He was one of us.
Yeah, he would say that from the podium.
And he didn't mention it. Yeah, he didn't mention it. So he never, don't get me wrong, he wasn't using while I was using. He was using years before. At that time, they were taking drug addicts and forcing them, locking them up and making them go cold turkey in the Nation of Islam. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
See, I became Muslim in 1970. I had just come out of the Black Panthers. I was associated with that shootout they had in the Zayah Project. So, you know, I've been, you know, about brotherhood for a long time, you know. Death to the king, power to the people. Until they decided they got a problem with niggas with guns.
Yeah, but it's all about the Second Amendment right now.
When they had run us all underground. Anyway, I'm telling Cosmo and everybody that I got a problem. Even he knew. Didn't you know? Didn't I tell him? I didn't hide anything. When you see me, you see me. When you don't, you don't. At least I'm not a goddamn hypocrite.
Yes.
I refuse to be a hypocrite. I'm gonna tell y'all something that happened. I went to prison, and I've been to prison a few times. To be honest with y'all, I'm gonna have to get honest. I have over 100 juvenile arrests. I have over 100 adult misdemeanor arrests. I have over 65 felony arrests. One police asked me, well, how are you out on the streets with all of this? You should be locked up without key. This is my history. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I've been having problems. I started drinking at 4 and 5. I started smoking cigarettes at 4 years old. This is in New Orleans. We wasn't confined to laws like y'all is. When I hit juvenile penitentiary, they gave us, I said juvenile penitentiary, if you had money on your books, they gave us 2 packs of Pall Mall Red and a quarter every week. You know, we didn't allow them to stop us from smoking. I don't know what happened to people out here. See what I'm saying? They just eliminated that here. Anyway, I have an arrest record, right? So I was in a Texas prison. I was in a Texas prison, and I had just went there, and I read on the wall, they got Juma call out. Juma call out. I'm a Muslim. I'm a law-breaking Muslim. You know, one of them. You know. So I decided I'm gonna go on the call out just to see what the Juma is about. So I went to the Juma, and had 3 youngsters. I'm talking about younger than him. Youngsters. They look at me. Pop. Eliminate that. Pop. You know?
School.
How long you been a Muslim? I said, I've been a Muslim since 1970. They said, oh, well, you come up here and you can do this. But I said, oh, no, I'm you know, what I told you, I don't like being a hypocrite. I said, oh, no, I'm just coming to listen. Well, no, we don't know what we're doing. We trying to hold this thing together so somebody come up here like they're hoping some criminal Muslim come in there and take over. So, if you understand the position I was put in,
Yes, sir.
I'm forced. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
I'm forced. Hell, I know how to conduct Juma. I taught all these moms in New Orleans their prayers.
That's right.
when the Imam told us we had to have Juma, I was the first one to lead the Juma prayer. Well, so I've been a criminal. This is the problem with Kenneth Quran and Kenneth. When I first came into the program, you know, I started calling myself Kenneth Q. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody asked me, what does Q stand for? Then I realized what Aisha, peace be upon her, said about the prophet. Somebody asked her, well, what was Muhammad like? Can you describe his character?
Yeah.
And she said, he was the Quran walking.
Yeah.
Y'all hear me? He said, he was the Quran walking. It don't look right for Quran to be walking into the dope house, so I changed my name back to Kenneth. The name that I have is supposed to represent my characteristics.
Yes, sir. Come on, man.
I'm supposed to be aspiring to live and become whatever my name is.
Yes, sir.
If my name is Abdul, I'm supposed to be aspiring to become a servant.
Yes,
If my name is Kareem, I'm supposed to be aspiring to become generous.
Yes.
Right or wrong?
Right.
If my name is Alim, I'm supposed to be aspiring to become knowledgeable. And if my name is Quran, I sure ain't got no business in the dope house. That's just a reality. So I had to become Kenneth M. Before I was Kenneth M, I was Kenneth 2X. Yeah. Before I was Kenneth Quran, I was Kenneth 2X. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
So I done got my X. I don't know why the imams can frown down on the alcoholic and the drug addict that's in suffering. See, I remember the nation of Islam was built upon the backs of getting the drug addicts and the alcoholics and the ex-prostitutes. Yeah, I'm a fisherman. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I got sober, and he took me and sober, he kept me grounded in every event that was taking place in the mosque, so that I never lose my connection. I was also when Calvin passed, when people passed, Tariq grounded me in that, because I'm not one of the reasons why you ain't gonna see me at Juma on Friday on Belfort or whatever, because see, I'm not what you would call a Sunday Christian or a Friday Muslim. I'm not one of them. I'm a worker. If you ain't got no work for me to do, I'm working in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know what I'm saying? I'm carrying this message to the people who still suffer, and I'm in sync. I'm in tune with Wallace D. Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
See, Wallace was moving us away from tribalism. Wallace was moving us away from religiosity and labels. Wallace was moving us into inclusivity, where we include all and exclude none. If something happened, like something happened in Detroit, a murder took place in Detroit. A Caucasian shot a brother in cold-blooded. Was wrong in street level shoes. Wallace went up there and said, we ain't supposed to be concentrating on the race so much as he killed the black. We should be concentrating on the defect in the individual's character. That's his words. Did y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Alcoholics Anonymous has addressed the defects in my character. See, a Muslim has what's called a jinn nature. Y'all hear me? Selfishness and self-centeredness in the big book, that we think is the root of our troubles. And the alcoholic and the addict is an extreme example of self-will run riot. Meaning his jinn nature is running all wild, raging. Y'all remember when God said, they got a question that's been asked. And I've heard this question asked, but I ain't never heard this question answered. showed Gabriel. And when I'm speaking to people, I speak in a language they can understand. Because, you know, I could have said, Allah showed Jibreel. But God showed the angel Gabriel the creation. Before Satan touched it. And the angel asked him, oh, Allah, how could anyone go wrong in a creation like this? Then he showed him the creation after Satan touched it. And Gabriel said, oh Allah, how can anybody go right in a creation like this? Did y'all hear that?
Yeah.
I've heard the question, but never the answer. I mean, that question wasn't asked so that it would not be answered. Do y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got them scholars in here who may have already read up on the answer. But I ain't never seen it. Every time I see it, it's a question. You understand?
Yeah.
So, the jinn nature, my jinn nature, and the alcoholic runs way wilder than the average Muslims. The average Muslim jinn nature can be checked with the 5 principles of Islam. The average Muslim jinn nature can be checked with prayer, belief, salah, charity, fasting, hajj. 5 prayers a day. It can be checked with that. Am I right or wrong? But this jinn nature I got, when that dope get on me, no matter how much I'm praying, it ain't happening. This son of a gun is running amok. Alcoholics Anonymous, didn't the prophet tell us that he made his jinn a Muslim?
Yeah.
Well, Alcoholics Anonymous gave us a way to make our jinn a Muslim. Because it showed us how to put it in check.
Right.
Our self-esteem when it's running amok.
Right.
Our pride when it's running amok. Our security, our emotional security, our financial security, when it's running, our sex relation, when it's running amok. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these are the things that cause me to get disturbed. My hot air, that jinn nature, go growing. And when I feel it coming up, I've been learning how to check it, and I make it serve me rather than I'm serving it. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He showed him the creation. This is what the Bible told us. I'm going to write this. For Satan has exalted himself above everything that's called God. Right or wrong? Y'all remember this? They got some Bible studies in here too. Y'all see that?
Yes.
For Satan has exalted himself above everything that's called God, sits in the place of God, showing himself as God. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all ever remember reading that? They told us, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but powers and principalities, forces, spiritual forces, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Y'all hear that?
Yes, sir.
I got to know where these high places is at. Where are these high places that this spiritual wickedness is raging at all out of control? Remember, he showed him the creation. And when he showed him the creation, he said, how can anything go wrong in a creation like that? What was the creation that he showed him? Was it the earth and the waters and the rivers? God told them long time ago, I'm about to make a man.
Yes, sir.
And God is the doer without let of whatever he intends.
Yes, sir.
See, the Bible put it another way. Let us make man in our own image, like unto our own kind. And let them have dominion. Now, no, ain't no letting. God said, I am about to make, I don't need your permission. I am about to make a man. And when I have duly proportioned him, and when I have shaped him and formed him and duly proportioned him and breathed it into him of my spirit, then fall down in obeisance unto him. Ain't that what it said?
Yeah, sir.
That's the creation that he showed Jibril. How can anything go wrong in a creation like that? After I had breathed my spirit into him, he done told the angels, bow down to him, right? The Bible told us that he made man a little below the angels, and then another place it said he made him a little above the angels, right or wrong? So my creation, if God done told the angels to bow down to me, where's all this coming from? Where's my problem coming from? Where's this self-centeredness, self-issues coming from? It's coming from in the way that he created me. Didn't he say we created man in the most excellent form? The book say that, right? I'm not conceived in sin and shaped in iniquity. God said in the book that he created me in the most excellent manner. But he tells us, let man but think from what he is created. I remember, and I'm not going to say I remember, but genetically speaking, I want to make this clear. Genetically speaking, I remember, genetically speaking, when my mom and dad was having relations. And when they was having these relations, they didn't have me nowhere on their mind. And when my dad deposited the sperm into my mother, there was millions and millions and millions of other sperm cells racing toward that egg. And I am the one that won. So pride was clocked into my nature. Y'all hear what I'm saying? I was created like that. Only God knows. And man, is subject to forget. Because I can forget, like the sperm. I can forget who taught me which direction to swim in. Y'all hear what I'm saying? In another place it says that God created man from dust. Lowly beginnings. Inside this dust lies the seed of industry and industrialism. So God created man with the capacity to achieve great things. But man forgot from whence he was created. Y'all hear what I'm saying? He forgot from whence he was, and God knew that he was going to forget. One time, he came up to a point that God gave man 10 commandments. The first of them. See, the first commandment is not the first commandment accidentally. The first commandment is, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no other God before me. Right? And thou shalt worship the Lord thy God with all thy mind, with all thy heart, with all thy soul. So man, in time, man forgot and neglected and rejected the commandments. They got people that come in the rooms today in Alcoholics Anonymous saying, I ain't paying attention to the 10 commandments, the commandments and all that kind of stuff. I ain't doing all that. Yeah, I know y'all done been in the rooms, y'all done heard people talking like that, right? Yeah. So the time was going to come where man was going to reject the commandments themselves. God knew this because he knows everything, don't he? God knew this, and in his great mercy, he said, I'm going to create a program, and I'm not going to give man commandments. I'm going to give him suggestions. And he created the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Only these suggestions carry with them the force that if I don't do them, I'll die. When Satan said this, going to create in them false desires. I'm going to mislead them. I'm going to come at them from the right and from the left. And you ain't going to, I'm going to have them doing everything. You know, and I'm going to show you, this son of a gun, you telling me to bow down to that you done made from mud. I ain't want to prostrate myself to something you done made from mud. It's pride in it. Yeah, that's pride. He said, God said, that's a way that leads straight to me. I hope y'all hearing this. Isn't it the trouble and the problems and the misery that we went through as a result of drugs and alcohol that led us to God? God said that's a way that leads straight to me. You and whoever of them follow you, hell will I fill with you all. God didn't say, oh, please don't do that. See, we have to speak the language of the people we're talking to. Y'all hear what I'm saying? We have a third step prayer in Alcoholics Anonymous. It's a famous third step prayer. It says, God, I offer myself to thee, to do with me and to build with me as thou wilt. Y'all hear this?
Yeah.
That's a third step prayer. The writers of the big book, I give credit to the Quran. I acknowledge the Quran. I also acknowledge the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous is a book that is written in masterly detail and one of the greatest literary masterpieces of the 20th century. Just like the Quran cannot be contradicted, because there's no contradiction in it. It's completely consistent with itself. Well, the big book, the textbook of Alcoholics Anonymous, is also consistent with itself. God, I offer myself to thee. Just because I offer myself to God does not mean that it's going to be accepted. Y'all hear me? There are two brothers a long time ago. Each one of them made an offering on the altar of sacrifice. One was accepted and one was rejected. Do y'all remember that?
Yes, sir.
I remember being in prison for the first time. I was 17. Adult. In New Orleans, you're 17, you're in adult prison. So I was in adult prison for the first time. They were singing songs up there like Ain't No Joy Like a Brown Bud Boy. That's what they were singing in the prison. So a guy saw me taking a shower and he offered me a pack of cigarettes and some cookies. So if I got sense enough to know what offering not to take, God most certainly does. On the top of that page, on page 63, there are 3 conditions that determine whether or not my offering is going to be accepted or not. Yeah. At the top of that page, they say, once we sincerely took such a position. Yes. All sorts of remarkable things, Father. On the bottom of that page, it says, if it was honestly and humbly done, a great effect was felt that month. Right? Yeah. So that's a faith step. The third step is a faith step. When I'm making an offering to God, it has to be sincere. It has to be humble. And it has to be honest. I can't get to God no other way. I have to come to Him acknowledging what a low life. You know, they got an old saying. I told y'all about this sperm drop, right? Yeah. They got an old saying that you don't forget where you come from. Y'all ever heard that? But you forget where you come from. They got, I don't know if y'all know how deep that really goes. It goes real deep. Don't forget where you come from. Yeah. Now you can spell it any kind of way you want. You see what I'm saying? But the point still remains the same. So I'm going to have to acknowledge that this power is going to, if I turn my will and my life over to it, and some people say, when I'm turning my will over to God, they say, my will is my thinking and my life is my action. That ain't what the big book said. The big book don't say that. It asks a double-barrel question. Just what do we mean by that, and just what do we do? It never said my thinking is my will and my actions is my life. It never said that. It said just what do we mean and what do we do. And then it starts telling me and answering what I have to do. First, I'm going to have to find out what's blocking me from making a turn. If I'm a Muslim and I want to go to the mosque and I want to believe and I want to pray like I'm supposed to pray, I want to fast, I want to do all of that, why am I not doing it? What's blocking me from doing it? When I really have a sincere desire to do that, I got to go inside myself, and find out what's preventing me from making the decision. Pat put it up there yesterday when he said my sex relations are all screwed up. My resentments, I'm always mad. You understand? I'm mad as heck. You know, I got some issues that happened to me as a child. I got a lot of things that I'm not addressing. I got self-esteem issues. The steps taught me how to look at myself. So when I'm turning my will and life over to God, I'm turning over everything that comprises me as a human being. My self-esteem, my pride, my personal relations, my sex nature, my security. I'm turning all of that over, the good and the bad. My selfishness, my dishonesty, my self-seeking, my inconsiderate, my fear. All of that is what I'm turning over. That's why they say, what do I mean? What do we mean by that and what do we do? And they go on answering that question. And after I go on and do that, okay, now I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I ain't there yet. I ain't there yet. You know, I remember the Imam told us a long time ago. The Imam said that in the journey through life, God will break you up. He'll take you from one extreme to the other in the womb of emotion. He'll have you in the womb of emotion, and the womb of emotion will get so hot and so fiery that you think you burning up. And then you'll swing it and bring it to the other aspect of it, where you're so cold that you think you freezing to death. He'll bring you from one extreme to the other extreme. And all of this to see if you are worthy of recognizing that you're in the hand of a mighty God. And then he said, when all of this has transpired and you get to where you have to go, once you get to where you have to go at, he said you will get there, or you will get there, but you won't get there saying, oh yeah, I got here all by myself. So, they told us that self manifested in various ways is what had defeated us. Y'all remember when we talked about Satan manifesting himself? So, when I read this, and I think I go to getting airily or spiritualizing this statement all out of due proportion and thinking about it's some tremendous battle in the sky, I'd have lost the message. I've lost the message. You know, he transformed himself into an angel of light. And it's no wonder he proclaimed himself as God. Let's look at the scriptures. What did Pharaoh say when Moses went to him? Pharaoh said, I know of no other God for you but myself. Yeah. Ain't that what he told him? So, Alcoholics Anonymous gave us principles and eliminated personalities. Alcoholics Anonymous gave us principles and eliminated personalities. Self manifested in various ways. That's one of the most powerful statements in Alcoholics Anonymous, is what had defeated us. Why am I saying that? Let's say I go back in religious history. The furthest I can go back in religious history, I'm going to always find that there was two opposing forces. Satan and God. Adam and Satan. Cain and Abel. Samson and Delilah. David and Goliath. Jesus and the chief priest. Ahab and Elijah. Elisha and Jezebel. Joseph and his brothers. I'm always find, y'all follow me?
Yes.
I'm always find that there was two opposing forces. In these two opposing forces, I'm going to always find that one is representing self-will. And the other one is representing God's will. So when I read the book and I see that God is not giving me a history lesson, didn't he say I'm the same today as I was yesterday? No change will thou find in our way of doing things, right? He said I'm the same today as I was yesterday. God, they tell us this in the book. In one of the books, they said there was two brothers. I loved one and hated the other. Y'all ever heard that?
Yeah.
There was two brothers. I loved one and hated the other. Now once I take that and personalize it, I'll go to getting hooked up in Cain and Abel or Jacob and Esau, right or wrong? When I look at what God has been telling me all along, there was two brothers. I loved one and hated the other. The two brothers is obedience and disobedience. Y'all hear me? Obedience and disobedience is the two brothers. You'll find that in the two opposing forces. Didn't God say for every prophet I designated an enemy? Y'all remember reading that? For every prophet I designated an enemy. God is not giving me a history lesson by these stories that I'm hearing of old and ancient times. He's telling me what's going on right now.
Go ahead, man.
Y'all ever heard of Jonah and the whale?
Yeah.
God told Jonah to go this way. Jonah took it upon himself to go that way. Jonah wound up in a fish. Right? Well, my mind can't wrap around a man being swallowed by a fish. But it can wrap around a whale in this prison that them people kept putting me in. Every time I do opposite of what God wants me to do, I wind up in a whale of trouble. He ain't giving me a history lesson by telling me about what happened with Jonah. He's telling me what's going on right now. He ain't giving me a history lesson when he telling me about Joseph and his brothers. I got enough envious, hating son of a gun in Houston. I ain't got to look way back that far. You hear me?
Right.
Moses and Pharaoh. Moses told Pharaoh, God sent me with a message for you. To let the children of Israel go.
That's right.
Pharaoh said, I know of no other God for you but myself. So, if I keep looking at Carlton Heston and Yul Brynner, some of them might not know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
It's a movie called The Ten Commandments, y'all. If I keep looking at that and associating in my mind a picture of yesterday and not equating what's going on right now in my life, I've lost. I'm reading what you call Disney's fairy tales. I'm being constantly entertained. And that's all it's going to ever amount to. But when God went to Pharaoh, and remember, one, Pharaoh is operating in self-will, right?
That's right.
Moses is operating in God's will, right? Then who are the children of Israel? My basic instinct, my pride, my self-esteem, my personal relations, that God is saying, free the children of Israel so that they can come and serve me rather than building palaces for you. The big book said the first thing we had to do was quit playing God. Am I right or wrong? Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have been, I would say that we have been blessed with a light that's like no other light. I would say that this meaningful get-together that's been put together by Yusuf, by the Imam,
That's right. That's right.
and by this other Imam, right here, because he Imam too, what I done got from him, he seems to be the Imam too. You see what I'm saying? So, what they done put together is something that the Imam, I'm talking about W.D. Muhammad, was leading us to. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
This is what the Imam wanted us to do. The Imam was telling us to get with the Christians.
Yes.
The Imam was telling us to get with the Nation of Islam.
Yes.
The Imam is telling us to get with the Jews and unite in a common bond. Let there be no contention among us.
Right. Go ahead, man.
Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
See, Alcoholics Anonymous has done what the Imam was telling us to do.
All right.
By personal religious affiliation, we include Catholics, Protestants, Hindus, Buddhists, Protestants. We include all kinds of people in Alcoholics Anonymous. And they said back then, a sprinkling of Muslims. Like Pat said yesterday, it ain't sprinkling no more. It's raining cats and dogs.
Go ahead, man.
That's what's going on. Alcoholics Anonymous has put together every race under the sun. So-called blacks, Negroes, white folks, Jews, yellow people, Chinese people, Mexican people, all kinds of people, Ethiopian people. Alcoholics Anonymous has included all of them, and their tradition bound them where there can be no contention amongst them in religion. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is what the Imam is pointing us to. It is a high point of ignorance and mischief to want to put down a program that God inspired. Bill Wilson didn't say he came up with this on his own. He said he received it from God. Bill Wilson put this thing together back in the 30s when Farad was still around. Y'all hear what I'm saying? When Farad and Elijah was putting all this together, Bill Wilson was putting all that together at the same time. You think God was working only in one area? Hell no. These principles we have, let me put it this way. I'm going to show this is something especially for the Muslims, especially for the Muslim and any believer, because not only a Muslim, any believer in here can recognize what I'm saying. Am I right or wrong?
That's right.
This is what they tell us in the third step. Y'all see that? He is the principle. Not just the principle. He is the, when I say he, we talk about God. He is the principle. And we are his agents. Didn't it say that?
Yes.
Didn't God say, I'm going to create a man and make him my agent on the earth? Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
So you can't see the similarity in that? You know, he is the principal and we are his agents. The agent is supposed to conduct himself in a manner befitting the wishes and desires of the principal. Am I right or wrong?
Right. Right.
Then we've been given this. Y'all see that? Y'all see the difference?
Yes.
He is the principal, and we are his agents. And we've been given 12 principles. A principle, right here, is a fundamental, basic doctrine or law that never changes. Right or wrong?
Yes.
But he is the principal. The principal is the ultimate cause of everything. Y'all hear me? That means all principles come from the principle. And if a principle don't come from a principle, it ain't a principle. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Principles are laws and rules, standards of conduct and whatnot that I've been given. And they told me, once you straighten up, boy, get on back to your house of worship. Why y'all think I'm standing here? You think I'm standing here on my own? There's nowhere in the world that I would even think about addressing the body of Muslims. Who am I to walk into the house and address Muslims? Not me. I'll stay right here in Alcoholics Anonymous and talk to you, addicts and alcohol, until he come talking about, well, jihad and what you call it, putting together a program. Until he come with it. Y'all hear me? He kept me grounded. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This program that him, the Imam Jihad, and the brother Yusuf is putting together is going to go far. Because this is the divine will of God himself. Y'all hear what I'm saying? That's the only reason I'm here. If God ain't in it, I ain't in it.
That's right. That's right.
Y'all hear what I'm saying? I never did believe in being a hypocrite.
That's right.
And I never, after I started using that stuff, I was so selfish and self-centered that I wouldn't give a person the time of day, even if I had a watch on. See, being from New Orleans, all it takes me is 2 seconds to take my eye off of you and anything can happen. So I tell them it's broke. Being honest with you, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I remember coming out of Main Street, so going toward Fort Ward, and some guy told me, sir, could I ask you a question? I said, you just did. And I kept walking. Coming up in the program, and y'all gonna have to tell me when it's time to go now. Is that 1 o'clock?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, see, I get up here talking to you Muslims. I remember Carol was talking. Carol was talking yesterday. Carol made a statement. Oh, I saw you even though I wasn't here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Carol made a statement. This is what Carol said, standing right up here. Well, I know better than to come talk to you Muslims just about anything, because I know y'all some super intelligent people. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would never, ever think about coming before you all.
Yes.
I wouldn't do it. You know, oh, let me tell y'all something about, let me finish this, about what happened in the prison. I told y'all they had 3 youngsters conducting the service.
Yeah.
And they asked me to conduct the service. I told y'all I was in a position where I was forced to do this, right? So it's time for me to go fishing. Again, you know, can't be a hypocrite. We got to build this thing up. So I told them, they had certain people in the prison that was not allowed to come out. But for religious services, you can't stop them from coming out. I told them, go to the hole, the dungeon, and tell them people so they can get out for our come here. Get the worst of them. Get all of them. Get all of them. And I said, y'all start inviting them over here. So the word went out. So the worst of the worst start coming to the Juma. Now they done got me a little cap. When he got on, what you call that? Fez? The kufi. They make their mom a kufi, right?
Yeah.
So they got me a little kufi. I'm walking around. So when Juma come up, I got about 12 of them sitting in there, right? Next Friday, we had about 20 of them sitting there. I got the Mexicans, the gangsters, all of them, and I'm leading the Juma service. We got about 36 Muslims strong. These were people who would not listen to nobody. The warden, one Juma service, the warden came in. The warden, well, I'm saying, the warden came in and looked. He seen all of these people who he know he got locked down, just listening. He walked out, and he came back in again. Y'all hear what I'm saying? That's the power of Allah.
Yeah.
So, Farouk, y'all remember Imam Farouk?
Yes, sir.
This is how I met Imam Farouk. Farouk was coming from in the street, bringing books and all this kind of stuff. And I told him, I said, look, this was going on. We got 36 Muslims strong. I said, right here. And I said, we done turned them all over to WD. In Islam, Al-Islam, all right? I said, he looked at it, started bringing other stuff. I said, I'm about to leave. I'm about to go. You understand what I'm saying? But instead of having, he said, well, they had 2 or 3, but I said, you got 36 strong now. You know? And so, but I was getting ready to go, right? In other words, I had to go fishing. Y'all know what I mean by fishing?
Yeah.
Huh? That was, you know, in the Nation of Islam, we used to go fishing. Converts, right? What Jesus said, I'm going to make you a fisherman of men. Didn't he say that? Same principle. Same thing. What he told us in the Nation of Islam, what's the duty of the civilized man? The duty of the civilized man is to civilize the uncivilized. Right or wrong?
Right.
Once I get Islam, what my job is? Thou wide out, right?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to spread the message and carry the message. Right or wrong? In the 12 steps, when I get to the 12th step, they're going to tell me, since I done had a spiritual awakening, I'm supposed to help somebody else get one. Right or wrong?
Right.
I'm supposed to carry this message to other alcoholics. Right? You can't transmit what you ain't got.
Right.
I hope I have not been offensive. I hope that I've been helpful. And I'm going to have to just close this out because I think I'm overtime. I'm overtime. So, assalamu alaikum. And anybody got any questions? Please ask, feel free to ask.
Thank you, brother.
Turn on.
Thank you, brother Kenneth Q. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings upon our honorable guests. I don't want to hold y'all hostage, but like I was sharing yesterday, what got my attention when I made my thing was, my soul told my body, I'm tired. The hell with you. If you don't do something about your condition, I'm getting my A out of here. And my belief is, because there were periods in my life where mentally I wanted recovery, I wanted sobriety, I wanted to be able to live and practice my deen according to the doctrine. I wanted to be upright, decent, moral. But my heart wasn't in agreement with my mind. And then there were periods in my life where my heart was devoted to my love and aspiration for what I believed and what I had learned and what I knew was God's will for me. But my mind wasn't in agreement with my heart. So when it happened, I realized that when my mind and my heart came in unison, and only by God's grace, it wasn't nothing I could will upon myself. It just had to happen. That's why we can't explain why some get it, some don't. Some keep it, some don't. Some get it, hold it for a while, come back, and lock and load. I had 3 relapses in my first year. Did all my relapsing in my first year of recovery. Because I was an arrogant one that I was already geared up to come in these rooms and tell y'all, all y'all need to do is go through the steps the way I went through the steps. Because I had what we call in the fellowship a Nazi sponsor. He was strictly big book, no nonsense, hardcore alcoholic. I mean, this dude told me about how he ran his military vehicle in a tree in Hawaii, and he was wired, had his mouth wired shut. He drinking alcohol through a straw while in the hospital with his mouth wired shut. So when he got this thing, he got it. He passed it on to me, and I endeavored to pass it on to those who would have it. I had a spiritual awakening with him that night. When I spent about 5 hours with him in his office, and when I walked out, it was about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could have swore the sun was out, and that my feet weren't touching the ground. That's how I felt. Will y'all allow me to share a spiritual experience with y'all? See, this textbook, Alcoholics Anonymous, I refer to it sometimes as a recipe for a spiritual experience. You know, if you want to make the best cake, the best pie, the best casserole, you start out with a cookbook, and then later on you just naturally do it yourself. This book guarantees a person who suffers from the type of illness that a lot of us have suffered from, and a lot of you have friends, relatives, loved ones who are still suffering from. And it's a promise, it's a guarantee from the Most High, who inspired the author of this book. We call the author, the co-founder. We talk about the first 100 written big book, but we know people wrote this book. You know, and he got input from the first 100, from medicine, from psychiatry, and from religion. But he was the vehicle that the inspiration for the miracle, the formula, the recipe was channeled through. So I had my first spiritual experience was in a meeting. I'll share 3 with them. This is, y'all doing me a favor by listening to this. This is important. I haven't shared this with a lot of people. My first one, when I first made my mind up, I came out of West Oaks the second time. My wife wouldn't come to family night that second time. I stayed there 45 days the first time, went through the whole program. When I went back, about a year later, or less than a year later, the program was shortened for 2 weeks. And when I came out, I heard one of the counselors, there was about 20 of us in the room, and he looked around and he said, only 2 or 3 of y'all are gonna make it. And I looked around that room, and under my breath, I don't know about the rest of y'all crazy a-holes, but I'm gonna be one of those 2. And so I came out of there, and I bought me a big book and a directory that showed me where every meeting in Houston and the surrounding area was. And wherever I was contracted there. Wherever I was in the city, and I just had a notion to go to a meeting, I'd look it up and I'd go. I met my sponsor on Westheimer at a group called the Daily Retreat. And he led a big book step study meeting on Monday and a working with others on Tuesday. And then one night I went all the way to the end of Westheimer, and there was another old guy named Pierre and some other old timers were out there. And I walked into that meeting, and it was a big book study. And I sat down in a chair because their meeting was set up in a big square table, and they would read something from the book, and everybody would go around the meeting and share on what was read. And so I saw a chair close to the door, and I felt like I had gotten behind the person that had shared so they wouldn't call on me, right? I sat in the wrong chair. And they read a quote from the textbook, and this is probably one of my most favorites because it's the one that woke me up. And I think y'all will appreciate it if I can locate it.
Tell it to us.
Okay.
Yeah, tell it to us.
I don't want to misquote. It's so beautiful. This is out of Working with Others, which happens to be my favorite chapter. Chapter 11. It says, your prospect may belong to a religious denomination. His religious education and training may be far superior to yours. In that case, he is going to wonder how you can add anything to what he already knows. But he will be curious to learn why his own convictions have not worked and why yours seem to work so well for you. He may be an example of the truth that faith without works is dead. Oh, that the truth that faith alone is insufficient. To be vital, you know, vital from vitamins It's a life sustainer. To be vital, faith must be accompanied with what Kenneth's been talking about all day. Care and the other speakers. To be vital, faith must be accompanied by self-sacrifice. The man putting this program together. An unselfish, constructive action. Let him or her see that you are not there to instruct him in religion. Admit that he probably knows more than you about it. But call to his attention, as they call to mine, the fact that however deep his faith and knowledge, he could not have applied it, or he would not drink. I'm a witness. He could. Perhaps your story will help him see where he has fallen. He has failed to practice the very precepts he knows so well. We represent no particular faith or denomination. We are dealing only with general principles common to most denominations. That's two. Now, yesterday I shared with y'all, a lot blessed me, and some of y'all might frown on me for sharing this, but I'm going to tell you because it's part of the story. 1997 was the last year I was able to fast Ramadan. My first 5 years in recovery, and when we were down there at the VA, I would cry during Ramadan. And I get depressed during Ramadan every year. It is a very, very difficult burden. And we know what the religion says. You know, if a woman has just had a child, or is on her menses, or a person is ill or infirm, then Allah has made provisions. And I used to give Imam Farouk money to feed the brothers in prison. You know, you pay the poor rate. You pay the equivalent of a meal for 30 days. But it's not the same. That year, Allah put the big book in my head and on my heart. And part of the Quran, because I was studying both of them when I was fasting. My illness, I have a sleep disorder. It went away. For 33 days, I did not have narcolepsy. It was gone. I mean, I was normal in that respect. And I shared with y'all that I was having these premonitions and these visions. I had one that was so powerful and so confusing. I called Imam Fahim Shuaib in Oakland. I didn't know who to talk to. I thought I was losing it. And I called him and explained it to him. And he said, well, brother, I can't really interpret that for you, but you'll be all right. I was comforted. I saw myself going into a room with the Imam Waterdean Muhammad. His security came in the room with him. You know, he's never alone without his security. Why would he be, right? And who am I? I told you, man, I smoke cigarettes. What am I going to talk to the Imam about? I smell cigarettes on here. And he couldn't answer. 5 years later, when they had the convention in Kentucky, and the Imam spoke on Muhammad Ali Boulevard, the big hotel. I don't know who went. But I was there. My brother lived in Kentucky, and I was able to, before he passed with his 12 years, I was able to invite him and his wife. I was having a wonderful time. But I went there, and I forgot to buy a camera. Well, Farouk was upstairs, and he had my tickets to the event. And there was a brother downstairs selling cameras. Those disposable cameras. Everybody uses their phone now. So he had one camera left, and I bought it from him. And so So I went upstairs. I was going upstairs, and they had the elevators facing the atrium with the glass front. And you could see across to the other levels. And me and a brother got on the elevator, and we were going up, I think, to the 14th floor. And the elevator stopped. One of the security guys came to the door and held the door, and he said, "Y'all stay right where y'all at." And we turned and we looked across, and we saw some more security. And we looked at each other and we said, "Is that what we think it is?" I said, "Yeah." Next thing we saw some more security detail. Then we saw Imam Water King Muhammad. And the Imam came around, and two of the security guards came on the elevator. The Imam came in, and then about 2 or 3 more got on. And I gave him the greeting. He returned it. He was a very humble man. And I said, "Brother Imam, can I take a picture of you?" And he said, "Yeah, but you got to make it quick. Are you ready?" And I started fumbling because I had to take it out of the box, take it out of the foil, wind it up. And then when the elevator stopped, security got out, he walked out, and I stepped out. I'm getting ready to get focused and take a picture. And the Imam said, "No, give it to him. You come in the picture." And the Imam, I saw this 5 years. I remember what I said. I saw myself walking in a room with the Imam and his security, and then we were left in the room. Well, everybody got off the elevator, and the Imam and I were the last 2 people to get off the elevator. And in that instant, when that happened, I remember that experience. It bomb rushed me, it flooded me. I said, Allah left this with me. Remind me of His great mercy and His grace. Yes, sir. And a reminder of how much work we have to do. Because sometimes they'll show you things only for you. Yeah. And you find you've had these experiences. It's difficult for you to express or explain. Yes, sir. And if you do, and you tell it to the wrong person, they'll think something wrong with you. But understand that, just like Brother Kenneth just said, this a lot of good. We got a lot of work ahead of us. Because when we look at the current situation on this planet, in this political arena, the devil's in the White House. I'm just gonna say it. You know, we got to rally people to vote. We got to get people cleaned up because the game's been played on. We got to go to work. So I'm gonna let y'all stretch. I wish I would come back, and I want Carol, Patrick. You better not do it. Carol, Patrick, Kenneth, probably have to help us. Susan, Carol, Patrick, Kenneth will entertain any questions, and we'll make it brief. If y'all give us 30 more minutes, we'll let y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. Thank you.
Well, good to see you. All right, that's it. I'm going to shut it down.